Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode where we are covering many messages, of which I will highlight a few here. One is we're going to be able to access the chat in a meeting via Copilot, and Copilot's going to use that as a source. We'll talk about the limits that is in there because there are limits to when it'll have access and all of that, but we'll talk about that. Also, Power Automate is going to have the ability to undo when we're building cloud flows. Yay! So we'll talk about maybe some scenarios of where that would come into play. And then a huge one, people. You need to pay attention to this because this could be very costly. We're going to talk about how unlicensed users may cost you a huge amount of money. Those messages and more on this week's episode. Let's roll it.
It's a way to interject the drama there. It could cost you
drama.
More.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we'll definitely hear about it. Welcome, everyone, to episode 342, and thank you also to the crew that joined us live in the message sorting room. It was good to have you there. Pete Simpkins, Jamie Watson, and others. Oh, and Christopher O'Malley. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so fantastic for you joining.
Those are the ones
chat.
that were in chat. There were other people there.
They were vocal.
Yeah, they were definitely vocal. It was a great time. You should look out for it, people. We post it on socials. We schedule it in our channel. Join us Friday afternoons in the U.S. time, Friday evenings in the Europe time,
and Saturday mornings in APAC.
Yeah, I say Europe time as if there's only one, but you know what I mean.
Well, yes, we do.
Everybody, you know our socials, right? At 365MCS. Hit us up if you have questions, if you have thoughts about the show. Hit it in the chat or in the comments down below on YouTube. Let us know how you feel about all the things we cover.
And a sample of that, and I saw this just before we started recording, Shogun A Flyboy said, you all need to try a little bit of pumpkin in your pancakes. Thought it was weird the first time my wife did it, but they're so good. Remember we talked about pancakes in a recent episode? Yes, well.
Absolutely.
Add pumpkin, apparently.
Apparently. Okay, so let's jump right into this. First message is Copilot in Teams. Tell us, Daryl, how this is going to be amazing.
I almost feel like I'm not ready for this and talking about it, but I will. I'll do my best. Yeah, so Microsoft Copilot in Teams will use meeting chat as a data source. It's MC823311. I expressed this during our live session and our live sorting. Any additional source is a good source for Copilot if it helps us to understand more and draw from it. But I guess there could be some drawbacks depending on the quality of what's in there. So think about this. It is meeting chat as a data source. We have a meeting has a subject. We chat before, during, and after the meeting. That's kind of key to this message. And what is discussed underneath that subject for the message, the agenda and the like, can become a source. Meeting transcripts are already a source if you hit record. So it captures everything. But what hadn't been really available up until this point was the side chatter, the questions that might be asked in a meeting, the other things that were shared. And if we're using meeting chat in kind of a mature way in terms of like how much you're using it, then you might be using chat before the meeting to discuss things and prepare, and during the meeting, of course, and after the meeting, follow-up actions. So all of that would be quite useful. Now, there is some limitations, as Daniel mentioned. It's only going to draw from 24 hours before and after the meeting, and the chat during the meeting. So if you've started talking about things, days or weeks in advance, then it's not going to draw from that. It's really more centered around the event and what's before and after. And that could be that could be just processing limitations. We know that there's credits involved when we're thinking of Copilot and processing a document, for example. It won't process a 1,000-page document, but it might with a 50-page document. Daniel, it's got... Well, go ahead, yeah.
No, I was going to say, but one thing that I raised in a question in the live sorting episode that we did is... what if that chat is causing the answers to not be great, right? Like what if some of that chatter is not quality, but it's giving answers in Copilot but
Is this a personal thing? Like, do you know and frequently experience meetings that are of low value chat?
Well, there's sometimes, but this is actually helps, I think, because it basically is, hey, we're only going to do this for 2 days ish, right? 24 hours before, 24 hours after, only allowing that to be part of the conversation. So I think it kind of helps. It helps with that to be able to not make this part of the semantic index that's used for everything across everywhere for all eternity. So I think that's actually good.
Yeah, I think the intention is to try and capture things like questions that might be asked and answers that are given in chat, and the topical stuff. What comes to mind, Daniel, is some meetings that we attend where it is more about people making jokes, wisecracks, and stuff about the content that's been talked about. What will that look like?
Sure, but it could be like links. It could be people copy and paste content in there. I mean, yeah.
But it will help then to also add some more context. What we see in that screenshot too is just an example of a prompt, highlights from this meeting. So that could be helpful in that sense as well. You can find out more about that. There is a point here at the bottom of the message about the Workers' Council too, and that they're always considering that a feature that might be put out for some parts of the world that choose to use it. There's certainly other parts of the world where they're considering that it has to be turned off, for privacy reasons as well. So those admin options are always available. Anyway, moving on with the dates. The targeted release for this feature begins rolling out mid-August, complete in late August, and general availability will be rolling out late August and complete in early September. And moving into a very powerful message that I automatically want to just hand over to you. I won't go any further. Daniel, take it away.
But even if you did, we could undo it. Power Automate. Use undo and redo while you build cloud flows in the designer announcement. We'll talk about that in a second. MC833532. The title is, it's an announcement. So anyway, I don't know why we need that announcement word in the title. But so this is announcing a feature that you're going to be able to do undo and redo when making changes, which is amazing. That's great. The ability, sometimes you make a change and you're like, oh, I didn't mean to do that. And you don't want to have to redo manually, or you're having Copilot do some, help you along. And it's like, oh, it made a change and now I got to go manually fix that. So this is great. There's not much information, as you can see in this message, nor is there more information when you click the link at the bottom. It takes you to a page that has very little information indeed in by itself. Hopefully that'll be built out later on. One thing that I don't like about this is it doesn't follow the normal message center posts formatting. And so don't really like that. And there's actually quite a few Power Automate ones that we're not going to cover, but this one we are. But it's not great. It wasn't following the same format, and we don't like that around here, right? Because we want to see, in the same section. Well, we want consistency. It's absolutely right. This feature, though, will be released general availability, meaning everybody will get it on August 25th of 2024. So that's when it is going to be released. And that's it. It's just a quick message here. So moving right along, let's talk. Daryl is like Teams man today, so we're going to make him talk about downloading the information from Teams.
It's not really. I mean, it looks a bit dark, I guess, on there, but this is purple. So I've got Teams purple on. Microsoft Teams download town hall and webinar Q&As to CSV MC830253. Nice that it rhymes this time. Okay, it is what it sounds like. That you will be able to take a record, export it to CSV, the list of questions, the answers that you might have run while in a meeting with Q&A or town halls. It is a good way to collect and see, did we respond? Are there any here that weren't responded to? What did we respond to? Almost like that team you'll get together afterwards and say, right, we've got to actually action some of these things and maybe use the responses here for a wrap-up post. Now, it is quite an extensive export. Look at the screenshot. You'll jump in there and see that some of the values and columns there are probably not going to be useful to you, like the message ID. But certainly you'll see who made the question, who responded, how it was reacted to. Maybe you could even run a few bits of analysis over does it say the types of reactions? No, just that there's a number of reactions. Imagine being able to run sentiment over this if you saw the breakdown. But that's not the case. So this... it's really more for you as organisers of meetings, large meetings, town halls, meetings that you are choosing to use Q&A, which I think is a great feature.
Yeah.
But Daniel, do you see that this will be useful for that recap for the team that's run the meeting?
Yeah, I think so. If you think about what's happening with Q&A, people are asking questions and you're supposedly giving authoritative answers. So that is helpful to remember what you said. But number two, I think the reactions you're talking about helps give an indication where you hit a nerve, a good nerve or a bad nerve. But still, it's something that you'll be able to tell. Now, I feel like it would be great to understand what kind of reaction it was, but still, I think that it's really good to keep track of, okay, what was said in that meeting. And you can even use this as a way of taking out data points and making them as action items. Taking these and put them in on a planner card and being like, okay, someone asked about this and we're like, hey, we'll get back to you. Okay, we'll get back to them. Or someone mentioned this and we said we would do it. Okay, let's put it on something so we can remember we said we'd do it. So I like this for that, being able to be accountable for what was said.
Yeah. You know what, and I know this is not the feature it's talking about, but that natural progression from this is also, can you pair this up with the transcript and where we actually said, because this is just talking about your typed responses to Q&A, not what you said in the meeting in response to the question that may have been read out loud and how you talked about it.
Yeah, it does have the timestamp, which, can help you with that. But we all know if you're asking a question, well, I don't know if we all know this. In my experience, what has happened with this is people come with questions. And so it's like, brrr. There's a bunch of questions at the beginning because I was getting all excited. I hit my microphone. You come in and everybody asks questions and there's a bunch of them, or maybe not a bunch, but people come with predefined or conceived questions that they're going to ask. And so they type it in. But then when something is said, people are thinking about it like, oh, wait a minute, I have a question about that. And you're typing it out. I mean, it could be 2-3 minutes later that you actually submit this question. And it's like, so it'll be very difficult, not impossible, but it would be difficult to kind of line things up the way it was. But I think there is some value in trying to do that. Why was this question
It's a manual
asked?
task now, isn't it? So
Yeah, it is.
yeah.
But it sure would be nice to have some correlation.
This is generally available beginning to roll out mid-August and complete in early September. And then I want to hear, Daniel, like this next one, I think was a pain point for you. It certainly is for me when I'm looking for contacts. What are we talking about here?
I have no earthly idea. I'm just joking.
Yes, you do. It's on the list.
Microsoft Outlook contact deduplication. Asterisks. I'm gonna say they should put an asterisk up there. I'll tell you what.
Terms and conditions.
MC835643. So, yes, I have a huge pain point when you're looking at your contacts. Everybody look at your phone right now. If you sync Outlook to your phone's contacts, let's look at it right now. What you're going to find is you go and look up a contact, and for anybody that you have, that's at work or whatever, look, I have here's somebody named Teresa, and I won't say the last name. There are 5 of them in my phone contact. There are 5 of them. I'm telling you right now.
Pugin actually features 6 times.
Yeah. So you have all of these people, and what this message is talking about is a technology phenomenon that happens as you sync this. Contacts are automatically created depending upon what software you're using that's interfacing with it. Sometimes they sync immediately, sometimes they don't. Then you get duplicates, and you get some that are, just the phone number, and then another person that will have the phone number, or another contact will have the phone number and email address, and then you have another one where you downloaded the whole contact card, and you get all these different ones. Well, come on, those are the same people. It's obvious. Well. What Outlook is going to do is hide. It is not going to delete. It is going to hide the duplicate contacts. So it's basically going to attempt to put them under one when it makes exact matches. In kind of the scenario I was just giving, someone's phone number, then they have a phone number, email. Those two definitely should be combined, and it's going to hide it. So that's great. I'm all for this because I'm kind of tired of having duplicate. Now, my scenario that I just gave, though, I'm not entirely sure it would actually remove it. Because let's think about this. This is an Outlook. New Outlook is going to dedupe. It's going to hide these. But it's not actually deleting them. So if you're looking at your phone, I have an iOS phone. I have an iPhone. And I look in iOS and at my contacts, they're not going to be removed. I'm still going to have 5 of those, the example I used. So, but in Outlook, there'll be only 1, hopefully. What's interesting is it says hidden duplicates can be accessed and exported from classic Outlook clients. So that's interesting because how long is that going to last? And what happens when there are no classic Outlook clients anymore? Does that mean hopefully they'll build it into the new Outlook to be able to export it? So, Daryl, you excited about this? I mean, will this help, you think?
I honestly don't spend a lot of time in contacts. I can't actually. This is the first time this year. Yeah, that I check my contacts.
Wow.
Yeah. Because I just search or I just type and yeah, I think it's going to be helpful for people who have to maintain these lists. But yeah, if you actually it's going to be more helpful if you can flick a switch to say dedupe, turn off the deduping, so I can see stuff and just make the time to tidy up my contact list. Yeah. Do it on the couch, people. Do it when you're watching some low-value TV show or something. And
here's the real question: will you? No,
of course not.
So let's be real. So this is rolling out in public preview late August 2024. completed by late September. General availability worldwide, late September 2024 through late September 2020. So it's one of those instant ones.
Ta-da!
Yeah, ta-da! It is here, people. Daryl, I want to catch this rascal that keeps printing a document out and posting it on the bulletin board in the break room. Tell me how to do this.
Does that situation actually happen?
I don't know.
Okay, here's one that's probably more common. Someone who keeps printing out stuff and leaving it on the copier. Who's doing this? Who's doing this? Why is it there? Do they get some kind of guilt trip that they shouldn't have been printing this? And anyway, okay, get on with it. Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint, protect sensitive files with dynamic watermarking. MC 833890, dynamic watermarking. What is dynamically being applied? Dynamic, we are printing something out, and based on who is printing it, you're going to get your name watermarked across the top of it. Check out the screenshot. It's really interesting.
Yeah.
So it's not just this belongs to this company, but this person printed it. Now, okay, good. What that will help to show is, who's the consuming person here in terms of printing it and showing that. Does it solve Daniel's problem? I guess so. Yeah, like that Word document that has the list of the CEO's jokes that they're going to use for the next talk. You leaked those early and put it on the bulletin board? Who did that?
But I'm also thinking about, the scenario where most security dies is I have one of these. I have a phone. I just need to bring it up on the screen and I can take a picture with my phone, and it breaks all.
It's called periscoping. It's like,
if you have if you have security that says you can't print a document, you can't download it, cool, I'll just take pictures of it. Well, this is a way to prevent that. Yeah. Right? Or at least, I guess so. Not prevent it, but at least be like, okay, you can do it, but your name's going to be all over it.
Well, I think what you're saying is we need something that is looking to see that there's a phone pointed at the screen, and then at the moment that it feels or hears or senses that a picture's been taken, it goes, and within that frame there's this watermark there that says Daniel took this picture. That is not what this message is about, people. No. But anyway, good feature. It's coming out to public preview in mid-July and complete early August. And general availability will come to current channel mid-November 2024 and complete end of 2024. Rest of the channels, it'll arrive when it arrives, which is how the channel thing works anyway. We will finish on this cost question around OneDrive and storage. And Daniel, I know you've got some good thoughts on this.
I don't know about good thoughts. I have some thoughts, though. Microsoft OneDrive. Update for unlicensed accounts. MC 836942. So what are we talking about unlicensed accounts? When you purchase a license, an O365 or M365 or whatever license, a SharePoint license, if you purchase those licenses, you can assign it to an account. Well, you can also take it off an account and put it on another account. So if you think about if you have someone leave your organization, then you may take the license away from them and apply it to somebody else. But you may leave their account there and their data there in your environment so that you can take care of that data. You can do something with that data. Or maybe you have seasonal workers, people who come and work for you in the summer. Or you have college students come during breaks.
Or consultants that come back and do work for you again, and they go,
That's right.
There's all my stuff from last time.
That's right. So what organizations do typically in these scenarios, they have some sort of governance plan of saying, what do we do with those accounts once someone leaves the company, for instance? Well, basically, what this message is doing is telling us here is you're going to have to revisit those governance plans and maybe change them. Because what's going to happen is after 90 days, when an account is unlicensed for OneDrive, Microsoft is going to issue you a bill if they have data in OneDrive. What's going to happen is they're going to archive it, and at the rates of the archive service. So for every gigabyte that is in that OneDrive, that user's OneDrive that no longer has a license after 90 days, for every gigabyte, it's going to be 5 cents a month. Okay? So think about this. You have 500 gigs in your OneDrive, maybe. I don't know. I'm just picking a number.
Wow. Like half a terabyte?
Yeah. That's going to be $25 a month for it to just sit there. Okay? Then, if you think about that seasonal employee, that or a contractor that comes back after 6 months, and you put a license back onto that user and you reactivate, it's going to charge you 60 cents a gigabyte to reactivate the account and get that archive back.
To go retrieve the file box from the file service. And
that's
then
right.
Here you go.
So 60 cents.
Shine here,
so
please.
We're talking good amount of money. That 500 gigs is going to cost you a fair piece of a fair bit of dinero. And so this is a huge thing. This is something that you're going to need to revisit. And they're giving us a good bit of notice here. It's not going to start until January of 2025. But you're going to need to prepare for this. And this is one of those, most of our messages say, there's nothing you need to do to prepare for this change. Oh, you're going to need to prepare for this. There's likely that you're going to need to change some of your procedures and some of your policies. There is a caveat on this for educational license. So those that are education tenant, it's not applying to them right now. So, any tenant that has 50%, more than 50% of education licenses is considered an education tenant. So it doesn't apply to them right now. But this could be very, very expensive, especially for large organizations. Some organizations say, well, we'll assign a manager, right, their manager to it if the user is leaving. And so that manager has to deal with those files. Okay, now what do you do? Do you just say, just deal with it whenever you want to? And so it could be 6 months or a year before they deal with it? Or is it predefined amount of time? Like, Daryl, I mean, we're talking possibility of thousands and thousands of dollars if over a course of a year that when organizations have unlicensed users, their data is just sitting there. And then when they do restores or reactivating because maybe they come back, you're talking about consultants or, all this kind of, like, I feel like this could be big. It costs some companies a lot of money to do this. Do you agree? Am I blowing this out of proportion, or do you think this could be a thing?
I think it is probably bigger than what many people realize. And one of those examples we talked about was meeting recordings, which if you're using the suggested expiry, maybe it's not going to be an issue for you. But plenty of people that turn the expiry off or say, no, I want to keep that just in case. That's where your gigage starts to get used in your OneDrive. And if that's going into cold storage and then coming back out, then that's going to be a problem. Now, the other cost side of it, Daniel, too, is, and maybe organizations will weigh this up, that the cost of managers actually spending time going through and sifting out and saying, yep, that's a value, that's what we should be doing. And that's probably what we should be doing as a outgoing task. I'm moving out of the organization. Here's what I know is a value. It should go here, here, and here. That's the cost of that effort.
But in reality, what I find happens is they take all of that content and they just move it into their own OneDrive in a folder called, Daniel's, 2024 folder, because that's
That
when
guy
Daniel
we
left.
kicked out.
Yeah. And
Treat with
so,
care.
so now their OneDrive has grown
Yeah.
considerably. And if they do that 2 or 3 times, but then what happens when that manager leaves? and maybe, right.
Exponential growth.
It's exponential. But then what happens when you get to the point where you're unlicensed and that account is just sitting there? That's where you're going to get hit with a huge bill. And
so deal with your data. Is this kind of the bottom line here?
Bottom line. So timings here, there is some different timings. So one timing is, I want to make sure I highlight, is the report for OneDrive accounts, where you can look to see where there's unlicensed accounts. There's a timeline that some admins, and they don't give you what some is, like why would I have access and not, but some admins will have access to that page in the SharePoint Admin Center by July 26th, which is now. But most admins will have access to the page closer to August 16th, 2024. So you'll be able to go in there and actually see, what do you got? Are we going to be impacted by this? The rollout is going to start late January 2025. And at the top, it says action required by January 27th. And the rollout was expected to be completed by late March 2025. And that's, general availability for all of that. So definitely be checking this out. Go look in your reports. What do we have? Will we get hit with this? And check out your policies on how you deal with data after someone is unlicensed. Because what we've been telling people for the longest time is, when someone leaves, don't delete their account. Right? Don't do that. Don't delete their account. Just take the license away. Make sure they can't log in. Cool. Because sometimes people come back, right? Or you need to get in there into their account and look at stuff. And so you need to log in as them, or something. Don't delete the account immediately. We've been saying that for the longest time. Great. But, what if you've just been sitting on it and it's just been sitting there for years and years? Well, you're going to get hit pretty hard here. So make sure you check it out. Could be costly.
Could be costly. Yep, get rid of that multiple versions of PowerPoint which had a video in it.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah. Well, that was our last message. That's episode 342. And thank you all for tuning in, watching it a bit later, and adding your value. Thank you all to those who also pass comments on the videos. Again here, another one from Maddie from last time. Great update. Personally enjoyed the pancake editions. I think it sounds like we need to talk about food a bit more.
Food more often.
Apparently. Yeah. We'll do a cooking episode. But yeah, that was us. You know where to find us at 365 MCS on the socials that matter. Do subscribe and hit that bell so that you can get notified when we are going to go live. And keep an eye out for that, because that was a lot of fun.
Yep.
We'll see you again next week.
Bye for now.